see the image of myself. I can drift away. My blood runs deep, betrays for me. A soldier's heart repairs itself.